The level of badass energy that came off this episode, whether it's the exact ending where Rimuru just is ready to kill a bitch, to Shuna no longer being a princess needing to be protected, she takes the reins and deals with an army of undead to the point that they don't just crumble and die, no, they become devoted followers to the god Rimuru, and I love this episode. This is the type of stuff you want to see during the march towards Clayman's castle. You know, we're gonna have the big debate, what's gonna happen with Rimuru, what's gonna happen with Clayman. I mean, there's some pretty big, powerful people at that table, and if they decide Rimuru isn't to be kept, I mean, he would die. However, we know for a fact that they're probably way more intrigued in Rimuru than they are in Clayman, so that definitely gives Rimuru a giant-ass edge. Now, before we jump into the full review, we do gotta give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is Boxu. We've been talking about Boxu for over a year on this channel, so we gotta give another shout out to them because they hook your boy up well. Boxu and myself have been partnering for some time now, and it's truly been a beautiful relationship. Boxu is a gourmet journey across Japan that every single month you'll receive a unique assortment of Japanese treats and tea pairings straight to your front door. Every month you not only receive a different theme, but with said theme, the snacks inside will be different. This month's theme that I received was the Moon Festival, which was probably the most exotic box I've received yet. My partner and I go over each snack and taste test most in a box and set aside our favorites for when we watch TV at night, while getting a taste of Japan as we pig out on delicious treats. Now, my personal favorites from this month's box were the lemon mochi, which was kind of like the texture of a marshmallow with a sweet lemon flavor to it, the rich baked chocolate, which reminded me of a chocolate brownie, and the chili oiled chips, which had a nice spice to them without burning your mouth. Fans of sweet and savory will probably get a kick out of the Moon Festival box even more so than usual, given the wide assortment of flavors. Each month you receive a cultural guide that details each item's origins and ingredients, so you don't have to worry about those allergies of what you're eating, and you always know where each item came from. All the snacks come from different snack makers across Japan. The quality and shipping is without a doubt some of the best I've experienced next to those larger retailers. So you gotta do yourself a favor, use my link and coupon code located in the description below, save yourself some money with my 10% discount code, your first Boxu subscription, while supporting the channel, and soon enough you too will be eagerly awaiting your next Boxu shipment, as I know I do. Now, this episode was pretty much Shuna dominated, and I welcome that change. It's something that, you know, when Shion starts doing badass things, you know, Benimaru, you kind of expect those types of dynamics, but her, I find she's more of a support role, right? She has her big moments, and she's had big moments, but in terms of, like, dealing with something as cool as an undead army, you have skeletons, you have zombie dragons, you have these really badass soldiers, that's not usually something that Shuna would be able to take the reins on. And I like how she stood up for herself, because naturally Soe was trying to be like, hey, you know, I'll protect you, you do this. And she's like, hell no, I'm not no princess that needs to be protected. And he recognized it. I was like, okay, let's see what's going to happen here. And it's interesting because there's a couple of different moments that felt like maybe the edge was going to be given to this undead soldier here, who apparently is so trapped away that he can't even die, which seemingly is what he wants to do. And as they're building up the escalation of the episode here, where you have some beautiful lighting as per usual, I've always loved the magical lighting in this show, whether it's casting a spell or someone summoning a giant Dragon Ball level blast of energy towards you, mixed with some great sound effect design. It really just creates an atmosphere that's like, hot damn, this is some pretty intense scenery. And truthfully, I thought the actual skeletons with the CGI mixed in with the 2D drawn imagery, I thought worked quite well. And I think the biggest reason was the background. It's not like we're like watching all these skeletons on a bright sunny field. No, we were pretty much in the pits of hell is what it looked like. So the way they blended with those backgrounds, yeah, you could see the copy and pasting of the models, but I mean, it kind of worked quite well. I've seen a lot of skeleton designs in anime over watching anime throughout the years. I definitely think Slime has the edge on most that I've seen, which is pretty good because this show can have some pretty high quality action, so mixture with some great lighting and sound effect design for the electrical, and I love the kind of like chanting magic where like you have the bells of a church going off, you have this pink and purple lighting exploding. I mean, it's nice, I have to say. Like, I'm glad that they really polished this one because, you know, something like Rimuru going extreme, I expect them to try to make it the best they can be given the circumstances in the anime industry. But a fight with Shuna, I could easily see someone in the committee saying, you know what, let's put our resources into a different episode, right? That's just personally how I feel. So I'm glad someone like Shuna, who has been a great character pretty much from day one, has really grown into a badass. I mean, really, Rimuru's biggest followers have become just even more of a badass than they already were, or have really risen to a role where they're not just going to be protecting a shield or aiding the civilians. You know, if an undead army comes a knockin', characters like Shuna can show them who's boss. Like, I was kind of expecting that the leader of them would probably be okay, but when it seemingly was over and the battle was all said and done, I was like, oh, Shuna actually killed them, which makes sense, right? You know, her entire purpose there was to set them free. She wasn't looking at them as like, oh, they're Clayman, right? And it's like, no, it's kind of sad just how trapped they've been. I'll set you free. And the fact that they survived it, and I was like, oh, they're just going to simply worship her because clearly she's a goddess. Like, that's my mental thought there, was they see her as a goddess. But the fact that they wanted to see the person that she follows, because clearly that has to be God if, you know, she's able to pull off these divine and holy magics that should happen, right? And seriously, I'm just waiting for, like, I really hope we see it. We probably won't. But I mean, if Rimuru kills Clayman this season, which I think he will, and, you know, he comes back to Tempest momentarily, and Shuna's just there like, hey, we got some new visitors, and you just have, like, the skeleton army of zombie dragons, skeleton soldiers, and he's like, oh, great, Rimuru, we're gonna write a Bible about you. Like, that just feels like the natural train of thought and line of thinking right now, and I'm here for it, I gotta admit. This is definitely one of the more interesting battles I think we've seen, combined with both Core 1 and Core 2. Mainly because it's so different, even in comparing to the first season, right? The idea of an undead army battle with the way the background details were done, the lighting, the atmosphere, the mood, and the character pairings, right? It just feels very fresh and exciting, which, what is this, episode 45 or 46 in total, something like that? And we're still finding new ways to refresh the cast, and what I love about that is because characters like Shuna, while have been important, I don't think many people would look at a cast as large as this and say, hey, we're going to go fight an undead army. Who's your top pick for dealing with it, right? We all know the answers. So Shuna getting that spotlight, you know, I'm glad that characters who've already had an established role and respect in the cast are still finding new ways to surprise and impress us. And, you know, the little glimpse we got of the meeting is already shaping up to be rather good. I mean, the line about how if he survives this meeting, he can come to his castle, and if he has any issues with him, because obviously, you know, Rimuru very much blames him for what happened, and he's saying all I did was set her free, she's human, you know, there's some tension in the atmosphere, but immediately that tension looks like, you know, very good friends holding hands as soon as Clayman walks in, smacks Millum right across the head, and I was like, okay, not only is the entire goddamn room like, what in the hell did you just do? Rimuru went from ready to strangle him and probably cut him piece by piece to wanting to keep him alive for 100 years and torture him every single second of every single day. And it will be interesting because, I mean, if we rewind 2 or 3 episodes back, we saw that the respect that Clayman has is like that. And I think most people in this room would be perfectly fine with Rimuru killing him. However, Rimuru still has to prove that he can be trusted to the others. So there is going to be some debate. It's just a matter of how long that debate happens before someone snaps, and that will be interesting. That's the best way to put it. There were some interesting observations, though, throughout the episode, like the fact that who's supposed to be a demon lord, the person behind them seemed to have way more power than him, so was that the true demon lord? Is he just an oddball of not being as powerful as his servants? But then again, when you think about Rimuru and Veldora, it kind of gets your mind racing about the pairings and how it works. But going to be interesting. That is the best way to put it. It is going to be interesting. And with, I think, 3 episodes left to go this season, there's going to be Clayman bloodshed, or we will riot, but I think we'll get that. I mean, incredible episode as per usual, definitely one of the more fun ones of Core 2 for sure. Let me know what everyone's feeling though, because Shuna's content definitely surprised me, and I'd honestly be shocked if it didn't shock more people, being like, hot damn, wasn't expecting that, but that was pretty badass. Mixed with the tension, you know, you start off cute, but then immediately end with complete and utter rage, which is what you want to see from great Rimuru-sama, who's now pretty much a god in the eyes of the skeleton army. Let me know what you're feeling though down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.